Yes, sir.
So, good morning, dear participant. Today we have a last session of this course, and the title of the today's session is Safe Transactions and Data Accessing in Web and Mobile Applications. The speaker of the today's session is Dr. Rajiv Chetwani, and Dr. Chetwani is a director in the Directorate of Information System and Management, ISRO headquarters, Bangalore. He's also the program director of IT and ITS at ISRO Department of Space, and he is Chief Information Security Officer of ISRO. And today he will be sharing with you his experience on this particular topic, and I hope the session will be useful for the participant. And we have requested to sir to make this session basically informative as awareness things for the participant. With this brief introduction, I invite Dr. Rajiv Chetwani for his session in the course on geodata sharing and cybersecurity issues. Sir, floor is open to you, sir.
Good morning to all of you. Good morning, Dr. Harish Karnatak, and all the participants. Today, I will be presenting the aspects of cybersecurity, which includes some of the cyber threats, what is a cyber kill chain and cybersecurity pillars, then focus on the main topic, that safe transactions and data accessing in web and mobile applications. We'll also be covering cybersecurity landscape, best practices, and I'll conclude after that. So, as all of you know, cybersecurity is a shared responsibility, and each of us has a role to play in it. It is not responsibility of any cybersecurity team, infosec team, and things like that. Everyone should take basic cybersecurity measures that can improve both individual and our collective safety online. This is very crucial because one compromise can lead to multiple compromises. It only takes a single infected computer to potentially infect thousands and perhaps millions of others. So this is a very old information, but even relevant today. You can see that in 2001, July 19, this how the start of Code Red Worm had a beginning with very few infected systems, and how in 19 hours it spread across the globe and covered almost the entire globe at that time. These are some of the snippets of what is happening today. We have hackers targeting bank networks. Even the bank servers are hacked, and huge amount of money siphoned out. There are browser extensions which are malicious, and then there are banking trojans which are affecting the users, online banking users. And these are some of the recent compromises you would have come across in many of the news articles, where Cisco systems were also breached recently through a ransomware gang. Zimbra was exploited. Even the identity provider Okta, which is used by all the major organizations, top Fortune 500, even departments of government of United States are dependent on Okta. That was compromised. Colonial pipeline was breached, and even ransom was paid. Huge amount of ransom. We understand that some of the ransom was even recovered back. So now, in this world, the advances in information and communication technology has an unprecedented impact on our society, and a considerable part of our life and activities has come to depend heavily on IT infrastructure. This dependence is very much apparent in both public and private sectors. Vital services such as air, road, railway traffic control, electricity, telecommunication systems key government and private services are now organized and controlled through internet. Transactions on UPI has crossed, I think, 10 trillion rupees this year, this financial year. And today we are the first in the world in digital transactions. While the information technology makes our lives more convenient, it makes us more vulnerable also. The excessive dependence on IT has created a new form of vulnerability for the government and its citizens. Whether public or private life can highly be disturbed by those who are able to manipulate information technology for illegal purposes. Cyberspace is full of dangers, and the cyber criminals are always on lookout for personal information such as email addresses, passwords, date of birth, etc. And this data can be used to illegally access bank accounts or to steal someone's identity. To give you some statistics, more than 11 lakh complaints of different types have been registered so far on the cybercrime portal launched 3 years ago, and more than 2 lakh complaints have also been registered for social media crimes. And you must be knowing many of the crimes are not even reported by users. Cyber fraud and other types of cyber attacks are one of the biggest global challenges today. We are all targets. The cyber criminals are using different techniques from transferring small sums of money from large number of users or targeting big organizations, big institutions and companies, and transferring money to the tune of crores also. A cyber attack could not only disturb the daily lives, but also jeopardize the national and economic security. In a cyber warfare, one doesn't need fighter planes and billions of dollars to launch an attack. One can pay someone some money to launch an attack, and it will cost less than mobilizing a tank or aircraft carrier. Why the tools we use to protect the systems against these bandits, such as firewall, are SIM tools and other tools, are very expensive. So warfare is no more conventional; it is cyber warfare, or at the most a hybrid one. Our Honorable Prime Minister also, Shri Narendra Modi, stated that cyber security is a matter of national security, and cyber security is not limited to digital world, but is a matter of the entire nation, the security of the nation. And quoting from a recent address of our Home Minister, Shri Amit Shah ji, organized and coordinated cyber attacks have profound national security implications. So I cannot overemphasize the importance of cyber security. Some of the risks we already seen: identity theft, monetary theft, legal ramifications for self and organization, sanctions or terminations of the account. And some of the top vectors for vulnerabilities available to a cyber criminal are web browsers, instant messaging clients and email systems, web applications, and excessive user rights. So rights which are given beyond what is required. All of us have heard these terminologies like virus, worms, trojans, but there is a slight difference. See, the viruses are programs which usually attach to other programs and then depend on the people to replicate them. Whereas worms are also a type of variant of these viruses, and they are self-replicating. They don't depend on users. All of them cause harm to users. Potentially they can harm. Worms usually replicate using network ports, but then there are other ways. And Trojans are hidden. They appear to be um, they appear to be harmless programs, but they have some viruses or some kind of logic hidden in it. And logic bombs get triggered when a logic is satisfied, like a particular time or some condition is satisfied. Today, social engineering is very effectively being used by these malicious users. It is manipulating people into performing actions or divulging confidential information, similar to a confidence trick or a simple fraud. The term applies to use of deception to gain information. So people call and try to get the password. People try to get answers to the secret questions which you would have kept in the bank and so on. All of you have heard about this Jamtara. Is a place in Jharkhand which was a hotbed of the cyber crimes where they will obtain PIN, OTPs, and things like that from users. And this was being run by school dropouts. So I understand there is a web series also on this. So all of you are aware of this. Rootkits are much more dangerous. Rootkits are hidden. They operate at OS level. Botnets and zombies, that is, they are controlled. Various systems are infected and controlled by one or more points remotely. Phishing is a very common term. It is a seemingly trustworthy entity asks for sensitive information, such as your Aadhaar card number, credit card, login ID, password, etc. So times they use the name part of the email to put the email ID. It appears as if it is from webmaster, and then when you hover your mouse over the link which they are trying to you to click, they are making you click. It is some other link. It goes to uh, their CNC or a server where they can obtain the information. So you should not get hooked to these phishing emails. And it is another kind of mail where you can make out that there is some spelling mistake, copyright date is old. If you bring your mouse over this place, you will find that that actual link is something different than what is being shown here. These are ways to obtain information from the users. Ransomwares are in news now. You in April this year, that is almost 6 months back, that Oil India, all the systems were encrypted with ransomware by a ransomware gang, and they were demanding 57 crore rupees. There are many other examples. I told about Colonial Pipeline and so on. So ransomware is a major issue there. Many businesses are affected, small and medium and big businesses by ransomware. Then there are other threats like spyware, keyloggers, where they obtain all the password information. Your user ID, every keystroke is recorded, and hacker is able to get that. Unpatched software is a big threat. We have to keep our software patched to the recent. So how cyber security kill chain works? The first step is reconnaissance. As part of reconnaissance, they try to, it is two types. It may be passive or active reconnaissance. The hacker, the malicious actor, tries to do fingerprinting of OS. It tries to find out which are the vulnerabilities available, which are the network ports available. Then it finds a malware or creates a malware which is suitable for that, exploiting that vulnerability. So that malware is identified. That is called weaponization. It is made ready to exploit and deliver and exploit. So this weaponization is the next step in the cybersecurity kill chain. Then it delivers either through email, or it will send you a link to download that weaponized payload. Once it is downloaded, either it is self-extracting or it makes you to click that, execute that payload which is delivered, and which leads to exploitation. Again, exploitation is at times single step, or many of the times it is two-step process. So you get a Microsoft Office file which has macros in it. You download and open it because it is very tempting. It has some important information. It is made to look as if there is some very important information for you. When you open it, that macro executes, downloads another set of programs from internet, and then executes those. Some of them are self-extracting and self-executing programs. Again, this installation takes place. Next step under the kill chain, that malware gets installed, and then it connects to command and control C2 to maintain persistence. So hacker has a persistence. Then they also create backdoors so that one channel is closed, they can open another channel, and they try to meet their objectives. So what is required is to have people awareness, processes, and technology. These are the pillars of cybersecurity. Training, awareness, governance framework as part of process, policies, procedures, drills, and audit. Use of technology, antivirus, firewall, IDS, IPS today are not sufficient. You have to have other technologies like SIM and SOAR, SOC, and things like that. So let us now look at some of the aspects of safe transactions and the frauds which are happening. And these are the information obtained from RBI Ombudsman, Goa and Maharashtra, Office of RBI Ombudsman. But we will look at some of the cases which are today regularly we are reading in newspapers, and we are trying to create awareness that these kind of frauds are happening and we have to guard against these frauds. So this is one scenario where a person receives a message on his phone that KYC details are not updated, and they send a link which appears to be a bank link to update the KYC details. The user, believing that this is genuine, it clicks the link, is not able to, because this is how it is designed, so he gets not accessible. Then fraudster is already monitoring this access, and then calls him and asks for OTP and other details. And when the person shares these details, he finds that his money is transferred out of his bank. And so what is the message here? That is KYC status and all, we have to not depend on any calls. We have to talk to the right people in the bank, and we should not share OTP, which is today being told to everybody. So don't click on unknown, unsolicited links received on email or through message without verifying it, and don't share confidential information. Another form of phishing is vishing, which is called voice phishing. In this scenario, the fraudster claims to be calling from a particular bank, and he says that your insurance policy has been activated, but the person doesn't want insurance policy. He says if you want to deactivate, you need to share the OTP which is coming on your phone. The OTP is shared, and as usual, this money is lost by the user. So this callers, what we saw in this Jamtara fraud, which is now claimed to be wound up, it is no more active now, but there are many other Jamtaras which are active. So don't trust unknown callers claiming to be speaking on behalf of bank, asking for confidential information. And never trust strangers in the digital world. Be cautious while answering calls. Don't share OTP and such details. There is another scenario of an online market where this person wants to sell his sofa and he gets a call asking for details that I'll pay online. Please give me your account details. That person is claiming. So he is happy that his sofa is getting sold. He shares his account details and that person transfers 10 rupees and checks whether he has got it. And he confirms that he has received 10 rupees as a test. Then he sends him a UPI request, which is actually he is trying to receive the balance amount, not send. Then the person says, it is asking for my PIN. Why should I enter the PIN? It says for higher transaction, PIN has to be entered. But it ends up transferring the money to the fraudster instead of getting money from him. Again, that OTP and UPI PIN should not be shared. This scenario is where credit card fraud happens. The caller calls and says that your credit card has been deactivated, and in order to activate, we need so and so information, and they already have credit card information, so it is highly believable. So he checks for the details. He says confirm the details of credit card. He believes because they have the details of credit card, and they say that we will waive off your annual fee if you share the OTP number, PIN number, and then they end up paying the money to the fraudster. This is more of ATM card where skimming devices are put in the ATM machine. We have read many cases where even some Romanian nationals were arrested, where they have put skimming devices in ATM cards, and it is able to make a copy of the ATM card using the details captured through skimming device. And they have also found cameras mounted at the top to capture the PIN numbers. That is why now government has also introduced for higher value transaction more than 10,000 and so on, additional OTP in addition to this ATM card and PIN number. So one has to be careful about this skimming devices, and while entering PIN, one has to hide with hand the PIN so that if somebody is trying to shoulder surf or trying to see, that is not possible. This remote access is another very common mechanism today being used to siphon money to get. So fraudster calls saying that I'm calling from a ABC Gaming Corporation and we are delighted to offer you a cash reward for playing an online game. So when the person asked him that asked him to identify himself and how he can confirm that he is the person. So he says, I am employee of company which makes online game, and this is a beta version of the new game we have developed. We need feedback from users before launching the game to the public. So we are inviting gamers to download this app, play games, and give us feedback for improvement. We will give you 10,000 rupees. The person is very happy. He shares his details, and then he gets the code which they asked to share. He ends up and he actually what has happened in the process is he has installed a remote access tool. So there are many remote access tools which are available today. So the fraudster has installed a remote access tool and he is able to control the mobile. He is able to transfer the funds. So the message here is don't download any application over links sent through SMS or WhatsApp or email, instant messaging platforms and so on. And don't download screen sharing applications shared by unknown persons. You may end up in this kind of scenarios. Search engine related frauds which are happening, where there was a case where somebody ordered pizza online, and when they did not get delivery in some time, they search for that pizzas service outlets contact number, the help desk number, but the fraudsters have put some their own numbers. They have, using search engine optimization, they have brought their numbers to the top. When they called, they end up losing the money. And here also, this person is trying to recharge his online app for watching sports, and he ends up losing the money. So don't contact random phone numbers obtained from web search engines, especially for doing financial transactions. This is QR code scan, QR code related fraud, where users are asked to scan a QR code to receive money and then enter PIN. So the message is that QR code is not required for receiving the money. QR code scanning is required in case of UPI only to send money. So don't scan QR codes to receive any payments. It is only for sending payments. And don't enter your UPI PIN to receive money, because UPI PIN is required only for sending the payments. Another case where that impersonation is used, a person sends a message saying that I'm so and so, your friend, I'm stuck at airport, or I have this difficulty, I need this money, and the person ends up sending the money to the fraudster. And when he realizes that it was a false, and this has happened many times recently, I'm sure all of you have read two instances. These are less than a month old. These two instances. One is related to Serum Institute of India. A director of Serum Institute of India got a WhatsApp message um, from claiming to be from his CEO to transfer 1 crore rupees immediately to 6 accounts. And it was also told that the CEO who was claiming to be CEO, that I'm in a meeting, I cannot take calls. You please immediately transfer money. Even the true caller was showing the correct name, and the director of the company, it is not that he was a person not educated, not aware. He has instructed the finance to transfer 1 crore. And within a week of that, another very big automobile company, the JTM Automobiles, they have similar case where they have also ended up transferring 1 crore rupees based on this WhatsApp messages. So this impersonation is a major issue. Juice jacking is another way of getting information out of your mobile or installing virus in the mobile. When your charger is discharged and you try to use, when your cell phone is discharged and you try to use some public outlet, it is quite possible that there is a device connected to that where they can transfer a virus, or they can siphon information from your phone. So don't use these kind of charging adapters cables from strangers. This lottery fraud is another way of getting money by fraudsters. So person gets a call saying that that he has won a lottery, and they ask him to transfer some money for taxes, and please send 25,000 rupees taxes to get the money. And person ends up transferring the amount without verifying the details. And these are not hypothetical cases. These are happening on day-to-day basis. Similar scenario is towards job fraud, where they offer job and then ask you to money to register for making initial deposit and things like that, and person ends up paying money thinking that they have got a job and they lose the money. Another example of fake offer where a person wants to buy a insurance plan. I'm planning to buy an insurance plan for my family, and then the agent makes him one-time offer, so you can transfer the amount to this, and they end up losing the money. So one has to find out the authenticity of the company. These fake offers lead to amount getting transferred. So here uh, he was convinced into transferring the amount to this account, which was a fake offer. There's another case of impersonation, what I told you, where through email, we have been getting emails. I think many of us would have either read about or got emails where somebody says, I'm stuck at airport. I have lost my wallet. I don't have any money. Please transfer money to so and so account. And I'm not even able to speak because my mobile is also lost and things like that. So people end up transferring money in such cases. This is related to loan fraud, where uh, fraudster calls him claiming from some and some so and so agencies, and we are providing personal loans at the very low interest rate. So they ask us that fill the form online. When the person is not able to fill the form online, they said we will send you a person to help you. Person fills up all the information and enters his amount, and in the process the amount gets transferred to the account of the fraudster. And here the message is that never share your confidential details like Aadhaar number, PAN number, check details, etc. with unknown person, and make them enter the form for you. Today we are also seeing some of the betting schemes where we have seen that people try to do online betting during some sports seasons, IPL or things like that. And then they make them register. For registration, they ask for some amount, 5,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees, to be able to use the service, or as a deposit, one-time deposit, which is returnable. And then the innocent person ends up losing the money to the fraudster. So how to tackle these issues? The most important is awareness. So every organization today is carrying out awareness activities. They communicate awareness through banners, posters, animations, and things like that. Today, mock phishing experiments are conducted, online awareness quiz are conducted, so that employees are aware of this. How to prevent this your account getting compromised is to have a strong password. Now let us look at this slide where it says that using a particular type of compute resource, how much time it takes to break the password. So if it's a 8-character alphanumeric password, it can be broken in 3.5 minutes or so. And as you increase the complexity of the password, it is difficult to break. 12 characters, all key passwords, it says using the conventional method, it will take 60,000 years, 16,000. But it of course depends on compute capability. As the compute capability is improving, these timings will reduce. But having a strong password, which is a mix of numerics, characters, special characters, uppercase, lowercase, and things like that is very important. This is a screenshot where which shows that this password, the database leaked from last year. Airtel breach is leaked, dehashed today, and I'm astonished about this practice where 18,000 users out of 42,000 users have exactly same password, Airtel at 123. Probably this is the default password. So login, on the first login, you should change the password. You should use strong and different passwords. And now we are also recommending use of password managers so that you can generate random passwords, very long. You need not remember. You can save in password managers. Of course, there are some limitations. If you use password managers, you can use on that device only. But some of the passwords which meet the requirement of complex strong password as defined by the software may not be really be secure. Your name at 1234 star has a mix of caps, uppercase, lowercase, special characters, numerics, but it is not a strong password because these names are also part of their hackers dictionary. And another is don't share your password with anyone, not even with system administrator. And don't write down passwords on sticky notes, post-its, plain paper. And wherever available, use multi-factor authentication. So this is how the Cisco's recent breach happened. This is again around 6 months back. On May 24, 2022, Cisco became aware of potential compromise. And this is from the Cisco's blog. Cisco's blog, Cisco itself has put this. Became aware of potential compromise. Since that point, Cisco's security incident response team have been working to remediate the issue. During the investigation, it was determined that Cisco's employees' credentials were compromised after attacker gained control of a personal Google account where credentials were saved in victim's browser and were being synchronized. The attacker conducted a series of sophisticated voice phishing attacks under the guise of various trusted organizations, attempting to convince the victim to accept multi-factor authentication push notification initiated by the attacker. So what happens is when you have a MFA configured, one of your devices, when somebody enters through a correct user ID password in another device, you get a push notification to either accept or reject the login on the other device. So this is a case of combination of voice phishing and multi-factor authentication fatigue that fraudster sent hundreds of push notifications. He was not able to work the user and he got tired, and once he clicked approved, and in the process the attacker gained access to his account, which led to further compromise. Now let us look at cyber security landscape today. What is the cyber security landscape which is prevalent today? We are facing a great number of APTs, advanced persistent threats. So an attacker campaign in which intruder of or a team of intruders establish an illicit long-term presence on a network in order to mine highly sensitive data. And typically these are nation state actors or state sponsored actors. So these are advanced threats because they use highly sophisticated tools to gain access. They are persistent because they remain in your system not for days or months, sometimes for years also. And these are the methodology which is being used by many adversary nations or the companies which are hired by adversary nations. They are also being used to get intellectual property rights from organizations. For example, the vaccine manufacturers, when new vaccine was being brought out, many of the countries were trying to have APTs in such places. They were trying to get the intellectual property, they were trying to get all the information so that they can also come out with the vaccine. So how to now counter this APTs? There are many ways one has to set up security operation centers, have all the required tools, technologies. As we said, three pillars: people, processes, and technologies. Another aspect is related to APT is to have a threat hunting in place, which is a practice of proactively and iteratively searching for cyber threats that are lurking undetected in a network. So all the time these threats are there. Unless we are continuously searching for these threats, unless we are proactively searching for these threats, it is difficult to find these threats. There are cases where big MNCs have seen that APT campaigns continued for more than 5 years, which is very surprising. But the hackers create multiple backdoors. When one mechanism of infiltration is closed, they use another backdoor to get an entry. And then these are the threats which get slipped past initial endpoint security defenses. They work what we call they work in a mechanism that they cannot be detected by these defenses, because it's like flying under the radar, flying at low height under the radar. You try to evade the radar. Threat hunting is very important because the targets are banks, financial institutions, governments, and even the organizations which have intellectual property. Like to show this video, which is very interesting video of how Stuxnet was used uh, many years back to uh, sabotage the nuclear program of Iran. So I will just try to play this video.
In June last year, a computer virus called Stuxnet was discovered lurking in the databanks of power plants, traffic control systems, and factories around the world. 20 times more complex than any previous virus code, it had an array of capabilities. Among them, the ability to turn up the pressure inside nuclear reactors or switch off oil pipelines, and Stuxnet could tell the system operators everything was normal. Unlike most viruses, Stuxnet doesn't carry the usual forged security clearance that helps viruses burrow into systems. It actually had a real clearance, stolen from one of the most reputable computer technology companies in the world. It exploited security gaps that system creators are unaware of. These holes are known as 0 days, and the most successful viruses exploit them. The details of a 0 day can be sold on the black market for $100,000. Stuxnet took advantage of 20 0 days. But once it got into a system, it didn't always activate. Buried deep in the Stuxnet code was a specific target. Without that target, the virus remained dormant. What was it looking to shut down? The centrifuges that spin nuclear material at Iran's enrichment facilities. Stuxnet was a weapon, the first to be made entirely out of code. The Washington-based Institute for Science and International Security says the virus may have shut down 1,000 centrifuges at Natanz, Iran's main enrichment facility, last year. In November, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the UN's nuclear watchdog, said Iran had suspended work at its nuclear facilities without explaining why. Many observers credited Stuxnet. Last month, the Iranian government conceded the virus's infection of the Bashir nuclear facility, still under construction, meant that switching the plant on could lead to a national electricity blackout. Iran has responded to the attack with an open call for hackers to join the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and has reportedly amassed the second largest online army in the world. So who was behind Stuxnet? There's no evidence beyond rumor. Some have it that Israel is responsible because the virus code apparently contains references to the Hebrew Bible. Others believe the US was involved in the testing and development. The finger has even been pointed at Siemens mobile phone company, whose software is used by the Iranian regime. The most important question may not be who designed it, but who will redesign it. The evolution has been so fast that 9 months after its detection, the first virus that could crash power grids or destroy oil pipelines is available online for anyone to download and tinker with. You can watch people on YouTube pulling Stuxnet apart. It's an open source weapon. And there's no way of knowing who will use it or what they will use it for.
So now let us look at the best practices to avoid these threats. So what is required is defense in depth. Defense in depth uses multiple layers of defenses to address technical, personal, and operational issues. So you have at the perimeter firewalls and routers. Then you have another firewall, antivirus, and security patches, user account controls. And further, there are tools like SIM, SOAR, and a host of other technologies which are used today, EDRs, XDRs, and so on. Today, this month, the entire world is also observing what is called Cybersecurity Awareness Month, where there is an attempt to increase awareness amongst masses. The effort is towards making people aware of the dangers of this cyber threats. This year's theme for cybersecurity awareness is see yourself in cyber. So how you can yourself remain safe, stay safe, and make your family and others safe by making them aware of the threats. So some of the aspects of this year's awareness month theme, see yourself in cyber, are don't click, have strong password, use multi-factor authentication, and be cautious. That's all from my side. Thank you.